Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Get my cord going here so I can come out into the light. You already did the first part this morning. You showed up. And in doing that, you are saying, yes, I'm willing to lift my consciousness. And so as we begin our service today, I'm inviting you to just take a breath and let go of anything that you brought with you in your mind that gets in the way of expressing who you really are, God. Set it down as we together center into the knowing that there is only one presence, God, and we are God in expression. So join me here in this place where we find that presence and power that is
So, I am Shannon Hoff-Smith, and it is my pleasure to be facilitating today as Reverend John Paul Roach shares with us about Taoism, so that'll be exciting. Also would like to extend a special welcome to any viewers we have via our live stream. Know that we feel your presence and are holding you in prayer, whether you're the city next over or across the globe. We're so happy Spirit guided you to be with us today. So, Unity Spiritual Center, we say this every week and we really mean it. We're more than just the Sunday service. We are about transforming our lives, growing spiritually, connecting with our Mother, Father, God, with our universal consciousness, and with each other. So please make sure you are availing yourself of all the things we have to do. Eileen Spada on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. She has a program called Metaphysical Musings, so join her in those fascinating discussions Tuesday at 1. And on Saturday, November 12th, we have, again, the Harmonic Journeys Gratitude Holistic Fair, and that's going to be here again, which is very interesting. If you've not come and seen all the different vendors and tables and things, very neat, so please make sure you're doing that. Terry Brewer, could you come up and tell us a little bit about the fall program?
Good morning, everyone. You look very good today. Okay, so my husband Ted and I are the lead planners on the cocktail party for Reverend Roach and on the dinner portion of the fall celebration on November the 5th. So I'm asking you to please register as soon as possible. It is hard to throw a party if you don't know who's coming. But more importantly, it has occurred to me in recent days how important this event is for another reason, and that is that we are looking for a new minister. Reverend Roach is a respected author. He is well known in the Unity movement. He has connections, and we want him to come here and experience us as the warm, inviting, thriving community that we really are. We want him to think, wow, this church is thriving without a minister. Imagine what they could do with one. So we need lots of people coming. We just want to shine like we always do shine. We roll out the red carpet for people, speakers and people when they come here, and we want to do it on November the 5th. So to me, it's putting feet on our prayers for a new minister to show up and have a great event for someone who is so well connected. So please, on November 5th, be there. Thank you.
And Even if you weren't even in a fall program book, you were part of this fall program just by coming every Sunday. So even if you weren't in a fall program book, come to the events. So back to the harmonic journeys, please, if you have a couple of hours, because Unity Spiritual Center is going to have a table at the Holistic Fair, please contact Cindy Chrisman if you can volunteer a couple of hours at that. So now I would like to bring Greg Scudderin up for a board update.
And on the coattails of Terry, regarding we're looking for a new minister, wanted to announce that we will be filming a Welcome Our New Minister video on November the 13th. Marilyn and Toyin will be working on that. We'll be announcing the details of that in an e-blast, and there are flyers and turnstile on the turnstile and in the community room. And the other thing I wanted to let everybody know is regarding Raise the Roof. If you haven't had a chance to see the goal thermometer or our display on our website, we've raised $35,000. I want to give a heartfelt thank you to everyone who has donated and pledged. But our goal is 50,000, so we want to keep it going and keep the momentum moving forward so that we can fully fund this repair project. So thank you again to everybody, and if you haven't yet pledged, please look inside and see what you might be able to do and help us out in that regard. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Terry, and thank you, Greg. So please be sure you're looking on the website for all the different things we have going on in this amazing community of ours, and there's also a flyer in your bulletin. So for now, let's just stand and share our celebration song.
I hope you are enjoying this song as much as I am. It's always been a favorite, but with this series, it's growing. So please take in those lyrics and sing it out. One power. One power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and just speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Bahalua, angel's wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the Lord in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different colors, different names. But difference only dangerous when we forget that in our hearts we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Bahalua, Hashem, or heaven's door. It's Mohammed, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. The power of the Lord in you and me. One power, one power, one power. It's the power of the Lord in you
Please remain standing and let us repeat our church affirmation together. As I let go and let God be God as me, I see only good in the circumstances of my life. And please be seated. So the daily word for today is prosperity. The affirmation is, with God as my source, I live abundantly. No matter how much I have in the bank, the kind of car I drive, or the house I live in, I know these things are mere manifestations of abundance. The source of all prosperity is God. I look beyond appearances to find a deeper meaning of prosperity. Meaningful work that I enjoy doing is part of my prosperity, not only because of what I earn, but because of the satisfaction I feel when I use my skills. My house becomes a home when I fill it with people I love and care for. My financial sources don't diminish, but multiply when I share them generously. As I look beyond the good things in my life to the love, to the creative insight, and the limited flow of divine ideas that brought them into manifestation, I discover the abundance. The scripture for today is from Proverbs chapter 8, verse 18. Riches and honor are with me, enduring wealth and prosperity. Let us repeat the affirmation together. With God as my source, I live abundantly.
So take a deep breath as we settle now into our time of meditation and prayer, and take this idea into our time of silence. We are the answer to Spirit's call. Please join me. I am the infinite presence. I am the one in all. I am the truth in beauty, the answer to Spirit's call. I am the one within you. I am the one you seek. Within your heart there is a doorway. The arms of love await you with these golden wings. Take flight. I am the infinite presence. I am the one in all. I am the truth in beauty, the answer to Spirit's call.
Good morning. My name is David Schwartz, and this water meditation comes from the Tao tradition. When focusing on water, we return to a natural state, formless, flowing, powerful, calm, clear, and pure. Rather than focusing on actual substance of water in Taoism, it's primarily used as an analogy, dissolving what it blocks it, flowing, taking shape to, and becoming one with whatever it touches. Our natural state happens to reflect the same qualities of this sacred substance. Water as the way, or the Tao, can be summed up by Bruce Lee, who was deeply inspired by teachings of Taoism when he was famously quoted as saying, "Be like water making its way through cracks. Do not be assertive, but adjust to the object, and you shall find a way around or through it. If nothing within you stays rigid, outward, things will dissolve, or things will disclose themselves." Using this water method, we improve focus, concentration, and foster healthy mental states. It also connects us to our body and the life force energy inside of it. We begin this water meditation seated. Let's close our eyes and relax our bodies. Now we take a few moments to clear our minds and connect with our breath. Next, we place our awareness at the top of our head, at the crown, becoming familiar with what we feel or sense with our awareness. From the top of our head, we move to our forehead, eyes, ears, nose, back of the head, jaw, tongue, mouth, neck, throat, shoulders. Let's feel the water-like quality of our awareness. We feel the sensations, thoughts, qualities, emotion, states, and we become aware of our internal life. As we move down our entire bodies, we sense our stress, tension, blockages, and wash them away with our awareness, pushing anything blocking us from the top on down. We move to our chest, upper back, upper arms, ribs, elbows, lungs, lower belly, lower back. We release the tension, washing it away with awareness. We move to our hips, pelvis, upper legs, thighs, hamstrings, knees, shins, calves, ankles, feet, and toes. It is important that we do this with ease. In water meditation, we act like water, flowing without struggle, soft, allowing, while not getting stuck to anything. Lastly, we open our eyes. Thank you.
In this moment of contemplation and prayer, we go within and align with divine mind consciousness, the divine substance, the all that is. No matter what the religion, we are asked to go within, to connect with something undefinable. In unity, we refer to the silence as the undefinable place that must be directly experienced to really understand its nature. The Tao literally means the way or the path. It is that unknowable, undefinable thing that is, at its foundation, and what we call divine substance. It is the essential harmony and order of the universe and how it flows through all things. We call on the three divine qualities or treasures of the Tao that help us live in alignment with the highest wisdom. These are compassion, moderation, and humility. When used in everyday life, they help us be brave and generous and fulfill our potential. There is a prayer poem from the Taoist tradition written by Deng Ming Dao called the Sunrise Prayer. It is the best expression of the Taoist way. Greeting the day with a quiet mind and a clear intention is a powerful way to start your day and receive new perspective on any challenge you face. I invite you to close your eyes and take it in. All we need is the morning. As long as there is sunrise, there is the possibility that we can face all of our misfortunes, celebrate all our blessings, and live all of our endeavors as human beings. Spirituality is something that has become necessary in these troubled times, yet it is inherently superfluous. We need it to remind ourselves, to bolster ourselves, to integrate ourselves, to fulfill ourselves. If we could simply acknowledge the mystery of night and the glory of morning, we would need neither civilization nor spirituality. At its simplest, life begins with dawn. That is blessing enough. All else becomes fullness immeasurable. At dawn, kneel down and give thanks for this wondrous event. We may think mornings are so common they are unworthy of veneration. But do you realize most places in the cosmos do not have morning? This daily event is our supreme goodness. Greet the dawn. That is your miracle to witness. That is the ultimate beauty. That is the sacredness. That is your gift from heaven. That is your omen of prophecy. That is knowledge that life is not futile. That is enlightenment. That is your meaning in life. That is your directive. That is your comfort. That is the solemnity of duty. That is inspiration for compassion. That is the light of the ultimate. We give thanks for this moment. From this place of being connected with divine substance, we hold all the people and conditions we are praying for in our hearts. Please speak their names as we surround them in the light of Christ consciousness. We acknowledge that each of these radiant beings of light are on a divine path of healing and wholeness. We include our unity community in our blessings and prayers, affirming that there is an abundant flow of energy and resources, allowing us to continue to prosper and thrive. We are so grateful for our board and for each person that serves by lovingly giving of their time, talent, and treasure to support our community in thriving. And now, please join me in saying our October community prayer. Divine Mind, when I let go, I am placing my trust in you, for you are my source of infinite potential and all possibility. When I let you, God, I am trusting your grace will bless my life in the most wondrous ways with perfect outcome. It is in faith I let go and let God. Amen. We give thanks for this opportunity to pray together today in community. We share our blessings and send love, peace, and grace out into the world and bless all. And so it is as we allow it to be. Amen. My name is Karen Kashmer. I will be available after service along with Lori Grimes for prayer in the sanctuary. Thank you.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
So hello and welcome to the 6th week in our series on unity and world religions. I'm Paul John Roach, Unity Minister and author of the book Unity and World Religions. And this week we're going to look at the religion of Taoism. There are two great indigenous religions of China, and those are Confucianism and Taoism. The third religion that's quite prevalent now in China is Buddhism, which entered from India around 2,000 years ago. Confucianism, a very profound system in and of itself, is based around societal and ethical integrity and virtue, and has not strayed that far from the Chinese and the diaspora of the Chinese around the world. Taoism, however, has had a great influence on the West in recent years and has been talked about greatly. So I want to talk about the essence of Taoism today. So Taoism, as it's developed since its inception about 500 BCE or before Christ, has developed into a religion that is characterized by ritual and ceremony and several churches and prayers and things like that we think of as a church. It's also developed another aspect, which is its body work and its alchemy and its desire for physical immortality, which is a whole other aspect of this tradition. But it's originally started as a philosophical system, and I would say practical philosophy, based around very profound ideas. And it's that philosophical system that we're going to look at today. The origin of Taoism is shrouded in mystery. Nobody really knows when it began or how. But as the myth goes, it was founded by a sage named Lao Tzu, or Lao Tzu, around, as we say, 500 BC. And Lao Tzu was a well-known political figure at the time, a wise sage to the rulers of China, or parts of China. And as he grew older, he tired of that kind of life and decided to wander off into the wilderness to spend his last years in solitude. And as the story goes, as he was crossing the border from his particular province into the wilderness, the gatekeeper stopped him, recognizing him as a wise man, and said, "Master, please don't leave us without some record of your wisdom." And Lao Tzu really didn't want to do it, but he begrudgingly spent a weekend jotting down his ideas. And he jotted them down in the text we now know as the Tao Te Ching. And it's 5,000 pictograms in Chinese, which is about 81 short chapters in English. It's a very, very short book, one of the shortest scriptures that we have, and yet very, very profound, and yields a lifetime of wisdom. And you can go back to it again and again, as I have since I first discovered it in my early 20s. I love the Tao Te Ching because there is so much wisdom enshrined in it, and it's inscrutable, it's paradoxical, and yet, and this is a paradox in and of itself, it is eminently practical. So Lao Tzu was the great instigator of this path, but he was followed by other wise sages. Jiangsu is one of the greatest, and he came up, I think, about 100 years after Lao Tzu himself. Another very wise master, Thomas Merton, by the way, once wrote a book about Jiangsu, The Way of Jiangsu, which has commentary by Thomas Merton. That's a fascinating book. In terms of the Tao Te Ching, there are, I think, more translations of the Tao than any other book except the Bible. And we go from easy to understand versions like the one by Stephen Mitchell to more scholarly versions. And there's some great ones on the market. Check them out. And in my book, I reference a few that you might be interested in. So, what is the Tao that gives rise to the religion of Taoism? Well, the very first statement in the Tao Te Ching states famously, the Tao that can be named or spoken of is not the true Tao. So there we are. We have that inbuilt paradox there. If we start talking about it, we're going to get it wrong. And yet we have to talk about it, right? Otherwise, there'd be no point me speaking today. But the point that I think the deeper point that's being made there is that all names, all ways of looking are provisional, and the actual thing itself is inscrutable beyond describing in the outer with discursive thought. It has to be felt and experienced directly. And in that way, it's a bit like the word in Christianity, the essence, the silence, we might say, in unity. You cannot really describe it. You can move into it and then have a direct experience of it, but you can't sum it up easily in a word. Tao can mean the way or the path. That's a sort of a literal understanding of it. It's also the essence of something, the spirit within something, the naturalness of something, right? The right thing to do at the right time. The Buddhists and the Hindus might call it dharma. Well, what is your dharma? What is your right thing to do? I think in the Bible we might use the word righteousness. When Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom and the righteousness of the kingdom," he was talking about the Tao, talking about the essential wholeness and rightness and perfection of what we might call spirit in unity, of the Christ presence. So the Tao is all these things and none of these things. It's the mystery beyond mysteries, and it predated the universe and gave rise to the universe, right? Gave rise to God and the gods. So it's something like the mystics in Christianity might call the Godhead. Before God, there is the Godhead. In Hinduism, before all the gods, there was Brahman, the very principle of eternality, of omnipresence. So we're familiar with some of these terms in unity, yes. The Tao is that which is hard to define, and yet we all know it when we see it, you know, when we feel it. We've had those moments of being in our sweet spot where we're in the Tao. That's another thing I like about the Tao is the Tao is very small but also very great. And what I mean by that is if you do something simply, but you do it impeccably and well, then you're contacting, you're feeling the Tao within you. It can be a simple act like street sweeping or whatever, housework, chores. But when we're doing them well and we're not worried about them or we're not fretting, oh, I wish I didn't have to do these things, we're simply doing them, then we're in that presence, in that present moment, which is the Tao. It's also, in a larger sense, the essence of the universe, and so it encompasses both. So the very small things we do and the largest things we can imagine are all part of the Tao. So it encompasses everything. And this is an aspect of Taoism. There is no separation between what's great or small or what's good and bad. These things simply appear within the Tao. And what appears to be bad often turns out to be good in the long run. And I think we may have experienced that for ourselves. So the first principle of unity, the one presence and one power, is alive and well in Taoism, but it's not called necessarily God. And the Taoists would not want to put a label to it like it's a divinity of some kind, because there's an inbuilt separation there. And we find that, of course, in Christianity, right? We begin to be separated from the creation from the creator, instead of the idea that they are both aspects of the same thing. But I think in the mystical sense, Taoists would very much agree with the one presence and one power, that inscrutable presence, that mystery beyond mysteries. Let's see. In terms of where do we go wrong, you know, the human condition, what is the problem? There is no such thing as, or quote, the problem, there is no such thing as sin in Taoism. There is simply confusion. And confusion arises from what's called the 10,000 things. In other words, multiplicity. And it's interesting because the Tao talks about Trinity, and which leads to multiplicity. So it says from the Tao begot the One. The One gave birth to the Two gave birth to the Three, and the Three gave birth to the 10,000 things, or the world of multiplicity. And I like that idea because it's similar to Christianity. It's similar to the trinities you find in Hinduism, Buddhism. The idea that there's the One, which we might call the God, and then there's the Two, which is the consciousness of God, the Christ, and then there's the Three, which is the executive power of God, the Holy Spirit, and all those three then go forth to manifest and create the universe. But what happens is we get confused by the 10,000 things, right? There's so much to confuse us, attract us, repel us, or compare. We compare one thing to the other, either favorably or unfavorably, and then we go astray. So the Tao suggests if we come back to the Tao itself, the way itself, return to that essence, that simplicity, that mystery, then we find our right relation to life. And we're no longer confused. We've given up the clinging and the confusion. It's a little bit like some of the ideas that we talked about in Buddhism, and Buddhism clearly influenced Taoism, and probably vice versa. Another concept that we're quite familiar with, I think in general terms, is yin-yang, and there's an image of that behind me today, right? We're familiar with that beautiful image from Chinese thought. It's definitely present in Taoism, and it's the idea of yin the dark, the passive, and then yang, the light, the active, and the male, the female. And you need both. And they're not in competition. They beautifully harmonize with each other, as you see in that image, and form a perfect circle of wholeness. So there's an apparent duality or polarity, but that is necessary to understand the nature of how the universe unfolds. And so there's day and night, light and dark, good and bad, but they're all part and parcel of the one. And the seed, of course, of the one is in the other. So you have a dot of black in the white and a dot of white in the black. So representing that perfect harmony, a bit like we talked about in Buddhism, the wheel of samsara, the wheel of time and change, and the wheel of dharma are really the same wheel when we understand them fully. You spend too long in one camp, you're going to not understand the nature of the universe, right? So we need both. And it's Father, Mother, God again, Shiva, Shakti in Hinduism, that marrying, the marrying of those seemingly different forces together. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful concept, profound concept, and hence well known because it conjures up and explains so well what we all know intuitively deep within us. Second principle, the principle of our inherent divinity, is very much stated in Taoism, because obviously that we are part of the Tao. We are the Tao in expression, and so Taoism holds human beings in very high regard. And in fact, all beings, all sentient beings, just as in Buddhism, all sentient beings are lifted up. And we have everything we need to live a joyous and productive life. And I'd like to read one of the chapters from the Tao. It's chapter 47, which sums up for me the fact that you don't have to struggle to find this. It's right here under our noses, nearer to us than our jugular vein, as the Quran puts it, right? The kingdom of heaven is within us. And interesting, this chapter was sent by Juan Mascaro, the great scholar, to and actually, who did a version of the Tao Te Ching himself, was sent to George Harrison when he was in the Beatles, and Juan Mascaro asked him to write a song. And he did. He wrote a song, and it's called The Inner Light. It's on one of the albums, and it's based on this chapter from the Tao. So it says, without opening your door, you can open your heart to the world. Without looking out your window, you can see the essence of the Tao. The more you know, the less you understand. The master arrives without leaving, sees the light without looking, achieves without doing anything. There's a lot of profundity in that, isn't there? This idea that you have everything you need. I think that's the core understanding that I get from that. It doesn't mean you can't go on vacation or explore the world or do all the things that you're called to do. But those are added extras. You already have what you need deep within your soul. So it definitely uplifts the second principle of unity, our own self-worth. And the third principle, the law of mind action, is very much present within Taoism. As we can see in the beautiful yin-yang symbol, everything is connected and everything is in the flow when we accord with the Tao. And so there's that idea of relaxing into the truth of your being. It has a wonderful word in Chinese called wu wei, which means creative letting be. And sometimes it's translated as actionless activity. It's not passivity, it's not doing nothing. It's simply doing things and letting them go, not being attached to the results. And creative letting be, I like that. For many years, we've used the phrase in Unity, let go and let God. And I think it's the same idea. It's acting and then releasing, just being natural about it. It's a very profound way of living your life. And it's hard to do sometimes, because some people say, well, what's the difference between that and just surrendering? It's not surrendering. You still have to do the work that is yours to do. but you're no longer fretting. You're not bringing a lot of baggage to it. You're simply doing it and then with elegance moving on. So I love that. It's linked to the power of non-resistance, I think, and that's another theme that comes in a lot into the Tao, and that is the idea of the soft overcoming the hard, and the slow actually overcoming the fast. The idea that those things that seem to be strong and powerful, like rocks, are often unbending, and the fact that the water, because it is willing to move around a rock, can wear it down. And so the Tao invites us to sort of take a load off, don't try and force everything again. And so, like the teachings of Jesus, right? I think when he was talking about turn the other cheek, he wasn't saying get beaten up badly every day. He was saying there's more than one way to look at this. You can be creative, and you don't have to fight all the time. There's a greater awareness that can be yours. That awareness is summed up often in the Tao by compassion, humility, and moderation. To be compassionate and embracing of others allows us to be generous. To be humble and open allows us to truly to be creative in this world. And moderation is that ability to follow the middle path, as Buddhism does, without extremism. So you're integrating yin and yang in your life. So the Tao Te Ching has, like I said, 81 chapters, very, very profound book. I encourage you to take a look at it if you're not familiar with it. Likewise, there's some wonderful passages in the Changzu texts, and there are thousands of other scriptures in Taoism from that time, from those ancient times to the present day. So it's a fascinating philosophical religion. If you want to get into Tai Chi and other body work and alchemical processes, then that's present too. I find that a little abstruse sometimes, but I know Tai Chi, for instance, is very effective in terms of body work. So again, profound systems of understanding. Prayer, fourth principle, prayer and meditation, not emphasized so much in Tao. Why not? Because everything is a prayer, right? Every time we move and look and see something, that's a prayer. And so it's a very internalized way of being. So the Tao encourages us to be rather than to be doing something. The same with the fifth principle of activity. The Tao is all about wise activity. And lots of the Tao Te Ching is taken up with government, local and national, with war and armies, but with how to live well, how a state functions well when it practices this non-resistant letting go, creative letting be attitude to life, instead of forcing. And so much of the Tao is taken up with how do we live this? How do we bring this seemingly abstruse practice or understanding or concept called the Tao into actuality? Not difficult. Guess why? Because it is who you are naturally, right? You are naturally this in the first place. You are the Tao. And so relax into that understanding. I think it's very similar to Dzogchen or Mahamudra in Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism. It's similar to the one without end, the Ein Sof in Kabbalah, similar to the Godhead in Christianity, Brahman, the essential undifferentiated presence in Hinduism. So all these are ways of looking at this mysterious but natural entity. I find it present. I mentioned this in another talk. I think I find it similar to the quantum mechanics, quantum physics, because there you're talking about bringing the paradox of yin and yang together, particle and wave. Yes, you are one and you're whole in that understanding. So that's just a few thoughts about Tao Te Ching. Is one of my favorite studies because I first came across it in my university days, but then somebody had a copy that he'd handwritten of the Tao. I just literally imbibed it. I devoured it when I was in Tehran, and I've been reading it daily ever since. So it's a very interesting text. I'd like to close with an affirmation, and this is taken from the 36th chapter of the Tao, and again, talking about the soft and the slow. The soft overcomes the hard, the slow overcomes the fast. Let your workings remain a mystery, just show people the result. So let's turn it into a statement that we can affirm together. The soft overcomes the hard, the slow overcomes the fast. I let my workings remain a mystery, and I show people the results. Together, the soft overcomes the hard, the slow overcomes the fast. I let my workings remain a mystery. I just show people the results. So that's Taoism. Next week, we will take a look at the smorgasbord of all the other religions and spiritual traditions and paths, maybe not all of them, but a bunch of them that we have not yet covered, and see the multiplicity that's involved in that. So join me then. In the meantime, have a good week. Bye-bye.
He kind of makes it feel like he's right here with us, doesn't he? And very soon he will be. One of the things I love so much about what we do here at Unity Spiritual Center is we have a spiritual practice, so that we're not just leaving it here. We're taking it as a practical tool into our week and helping us live into it. So during this series, we've been having the conversation that there's a golden thread that connects all traditional spiritual and non-secular ways of life. And so our practice this week is to focus on being true to yourself. And to those that are unwilling to accept you for your true nature, no action is required. Just silently let them be themselves as you remain yourself. Contemplate how this practice reveals the Taoist tradition of aligning with compassion, moderation, and humility. And reflect on your practice by asking, who am I? What do I want? And what is my purpose? So that's a great practice for us this week. And I love seeing these commitment cards. Isn't that a beautiful visual of our commitment throughout this 7-week program to deepen our understanding of unity and these different religions and how we are one? So we have a dark blue card today. If you did not get one when you came in and you'd like to have one, just raise your hand. The ushers will come around and bring you one. The words are up on the screen, but in the meantime, we're going to affirm this powerfully together by inserting our own name after I, and we will speak it together. And then after the service, you can feel free to put it on the web and add to this beautiful commitment that we're creating together. So take your card and insert your own name. Let's say it together. Together. I, Bonnie, will accept and be at peace with what is, knowing there's only one presence and one power.
The secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. Any fool can do it. There ain't nothing to it. Nobody knows how we got to the top of the hill. But since we are on our way down, we might as well enjoy the ride. The secret secret of love is in opening up your heart. It's okay to feel afraid, but don't let that stand in your way. 'Cause anyone knows that love is the only road. And since we're only here for a while, give us a smile. Isn't it a lovely ride? Sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard. It's just a lovely ride. Now the thing about time is that time isn't really real. It's just your point of view. How does it feel for you? Einstein said that he could never understand it all. Planets spinning through space. Welcome to the human race. Some kind of lovely ride. I'll be sliding down, I'll be gliding down. Try not to try too hard. It's just a lovely ride. Isn't it a lovely ride? Sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard. It's just a lovely ride. The secret of life is enjoying the passage of time.
Thank you, Eric, Bonnie, Jerry, Mel, everybody in the back making this service work. We are so blessed as a community, aren't we? Now, collectively, we have been uplifted, inspired. We have shared a lot together this morning. From that raised awareness of truth of who we are, we're going to breathe into that feeling of gratitude right now. We're going to breathe in that joy and experience that consciousness. We're going to move into the spiritual practice of generosity. So we're going to share our financial gifts. When we join together, giving generously as we're able, we rise strong as a community. In this community, our faith is nurtured, we are strengthened. These teachings from Unity, our heart is moved, our consciousness is stirred. Unity Spiritual Center, we need to help it thrive today and well into the future. We are transforming our spirits and our lights now and well into the future. You have been called to be here right now at this time, and you are making such a difference. Please consider your gifts and the sustainability of this beloved community. If you are sharing your gifts in person, please hold them in your hands. If you have shared through many of our other ways, credit cards, Square, Facebook, please hold that gift in your heart, and let's repeat that information together. I am one with and now realize divine abundance.
So allow yourself to just be the Tao this morning as we take one step at a time. Feel free to add harmony here. One more step. Stand up as soon as it comes by. One more step. We will take one more step till there is peace for us, and everyone will take one more step. One more word. One more word. We will say one more word till every word one more song. One more song. We will sing one more song. Till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more. Now take it down. One more step. Take it in. One more step. We will take one more step till there is peace for us, and everyone will take one more step. Beautiful. Please be seated.
And we dedicate these gifts and prayers in the will, the way, and work of the living Christ moving in and through this ministry of love as we transform planet Earth. We thank you, Mother, Father, God, for enough and more than enough to meet all of our desires. Amen. And now, please join me in saying our Unity Minister prayer affirmation. I think. There we go. Joyously, I am affirming that the right minister is drawn to our congregation, and our congregation is drawn to this right minister in divine order, and I am grateful. All right. So as you know, Unity Spiritual Center does give a portion of our offering to a special organization every month. And this month, we're going to be giving it to Voices for Children. And this is a Lorain County nonprofit, and they recruit and train volunteer advocates to represent the best interests of neglected and dependent children who have been removed from their homes. So we thank you for that. So we are very glad that you joined us this morning. Special welcome to any new guests that we may have here. Please be sure to pick up a welcome bag at the concierge table. Everybody, please, that is here, join us in the community room for refreshments. If you're joining us on live stream, again, thank you so much for being here. We are so glad that you are able, to be with us, even if not in person. Spirit guided you to be with us to here today, and we hope you enjoyed, what we had. Our message next week is smorgasbord. Oh my God, I said it right. I hate that word. I can never say that word. And again, with Reverend John Paul Roach, our soloist will be Roberta McLaughlin. And let's stand and sing our closing songs.